Hey guys, I'm out here along the Blanco River in Central Texas. This is just south of Austin, right near Interstate 35. There's a big public park just up the hill. Lots of kids playing soccer this morning. I thought I'd come look for some cool rocks in this dry riverbed. And when I say dry, I mean very dry. Check this out. As you can see, there hasn't been much water here in a while. So the rock hounding is going to be challenging. It's a sea of white rocks. But who knows? Maybe we'll find something interesting in here. Come along. Here's my first interesting find. I believe this is fossilized coral. You see those little striations in there? At first I thought it might be petrified wood, but no, I'm pretty confident this is fossilized coral. There are lots of fossils in this area, so hopefully we'll find more like this. I believe this might be another one of those fossils. I'm not 100% sure. It sort of has a petrified wood look. See all those little fibrous sort of striations, as I call them? It's probably, though, some kind of fossilized coral, I would think. This is a nice big chunk of it right here. You know, this might be fun to take back to the shop and slab, because if this is fossilized coral, I bet you I can make a beautiful cabochon out of it or something. So I'll go ahead and hang on to this one as well. Here's an interesting chunk of banded shirt. I always like finding this stuff. You see that swirl pattern in there? Yeah, it's mostly covered in this white yuck. But what we can see makes me think this might be a fun one to throw in the tumbler. It's a nice big size, so it will stay large once it's ground down to a smooth level and polished. So I think I'll hang on to this one. Here's a fun fossil rock. It's just loaded with shells, as you can see. Look at that, isn't that interesting? I'm not sure I could do much with this. I don't know that that host rock would be hard enough to polish, but I might hang on to it, take it back to the shop, slab it up a little bit, see what we can do with that. What do you think? As I said earlier, there are a lot of rocks that have the shell fossils in them. There are three that were just really close to each other. What I find interesting is this one. You see it's got the shell fossil right there, but look at all the rust staining. Isn't that interesting? There's like an iron nail in there from a million years ago. Isn't that cool? Seems like all I'm finding are fossil rocks today, but this one's a little bit different. Check it out. It's got that, I call it a turritella, but that sort of spirally shell right there. So this is a little more interesting than the other fossil rocks I was finding that just had those, what I think were mostly the oyster shells. Yeah, this might have a bunch of cool stuff in it. I'll have to take this back to the shop and find something to do with it anyway. I've been out here about an hour or so, not finding a whole lot. This has been nothing but a whitewashed, dry riverbed. However, I'm looking ahead of me, and there's a little bit of water over there. Not much, it's probably very stagnant, loaded with all kinds of bugs, but hey, at least we got a little bit of water. I don't know what this is, but I gotta believe it's some kind of fossil with all those little, what obviously look like unnatural tube formations. I say unnatural. Unrock-like, let's say, unvolcanic, more biological than geological. How's that? So I'll take this one home and give it the scratch test, see how hard it is. And if it's hard enough, maybe throw it in the tumbler. This thing could turn out interesting, or it could just dissolve away if it's really soft, but I gotta believe that's some sort of fossil right there. Well, still not finding much, but at least it's prettier here with some water and these lovely trees. Maybe my luck will change. I'll keep heading towards the interstate. I can hear the noise of the cars speeding by at 80 miles per hour, just right down beyond that, I think just beyond that, well, you can see a road over there, just past that. One thing we do have a lot of here in Texas is this chert. And since I'm not finding much else around here, I think I'll pick up enough of this to fill a barrel and do a tumble video just with this chert. Some of it might have some banding, but this piece looks to be very plain. However, I do think it will take a gorgeous polish once it's all tumbled smooth and spent a few days in the vibratory tumbler. So let me do that. Let me find as much of this as I can around the same size, and I'll do a tumble video with it. I saw this big piece of chert and knew it was too big for the tumbler, so I decided to take my hammer to it to break it up just to see if I could make it into a more usable size. And you never know what you'll find inside these chunks. Look at that little crystal pocket in there. Isn't that pretty? So I may take these pieces and throw them in the tumbler as well. Well, this bag is getting heavy, which means it's time to stop rock hounding. I didn't find much. It was not great out here. The conditions were sort of terrible with the whitewashed rocks everywhere. However, I did find a couple of things, a couple of fossils and a bunch of chert that we're going to tumble. What I'll do is I'll get all this back to the shop and clean it up, show you what we have, and tell you what little lapidary projects we're going to do with these finds. So, see you there. All right, here's the final tally. Like I said, not a great rock hounding day, but I got a couple of interesting things. Let me show you what I got and tell you what I'm going to do with it. Well, the last half of the hunt, I was just looking for this stuff. This is chert, just Texas chert. Not very interesting looking. However, this stuff usually tumbles and polishes beautifully. So that's what I'm going to do with all this. I'm going to get all this in a big barrel, get it tumbling. I'll start that video soon and go over all this in more detail. This piece of banded chert looks like it might be a special piece. I see some banding in there. So this one I'll make a individual tumbling video for, one of my How Will It Tumble videos. This piece is kind of interesting. This is the one that has that large turritella fossil. What I think I'll do with this one, I also, by the way, see a little bit of color right here, a little pinkish color. So what I think I'll do with this one, it's very thin, but I think I can cut it in the bottom so that I can stand it up, and then somehow maybe get it in my saw and cut off a very thin slice here to make this smooth and put a nice polish across this face, hopefully capturing that big turritella fossil there and all these other fossils. Maybe we'll see some beautiful colors and patterns in there and it'll shine up nicely, who knows. This is that little mystery fossil rock. I'll test this one for hardness and see if it's hard enough to tumble or not. Maybe it's going to be too soft. This little fossil rock here probably will just be a specimen. I don't think I can do much with it. It's just a fun rock with lots of shells in it. So maybe I'll cut it in such a way where I can stand it up and just, like I said, have it as a specimen. Then these are those two that I think are fossilized coral. This big one, I'll probably get on the slab saw, get a slab out of it, and maybe turn that into a cabochon. The smaller one, I'm not sure. Maybe the same, or perhaps tumble it. Don't know. But you'll be seeing all these again very soon in my other videos, so be sure and keep checking back. Appreciate you watching this.